Welcome down the rabbit hole, friends. This isn't just a story about Chad and Lori Daybell. It's also a story of all the many people who surrounded the couple, believed in their rhetoric, bought into their seemingly cheap parlor tricks. And many of these people are still out there in a little town called Rexburg, Idaho, waiting for that second coming that Chad and Lori promised. It's scary to think about. It's likely these are good people, but people who are willing to toss aside science and even ignore the bleeding of their own conscience just the same. How did Chad convince so many that he was worthy of a loyal and devoted following? Why were so many people willing to donate and support this couple till the very end? For some, it seems it had something to do with Chad's magical pendant necklace. I'm not kidding here. I think we all know a little story that comes from the Book of Mormon about other magical items that gave their user special powers. On September 22nd, 1823, Joseph Smith claimed an angel named Moroni revealed to him, among other artifacts, a set of 60-pound golden plates. 4 years later, and 18 months after being convicted for fraud and admitting in court he told people he had necromantic powers, Smith says the angel Moroni allowed him to take the plates home and translate them from Reformed Egyptian into English, thus creating the Book of Mormon. Here's what a replica of the plates looks like. At first, Smith said he wouldn't let anyone else look at them. If he did, they'd die, Raiders of the Lost Ark style. But later Smith had a revelation that more people could safely see the plates, and eventually a total of 11 quote-unquote witnesses claimed to have seen them. Once the translation was complete, Joseph Smith said Moroni retrieved the plates and took them back to heaven, where they reportedly still reside today. But how did Joseph Smith translate Reformed Egyptian into English? To translate, Smith told everyone that the angel Moroni gave him 2 transparent translation stones, which he could use as magical glasses to read the plates. Here's a picture of a replica of what people believe Smith was describing as magical glasses. At first, Joseph Smith went through a series of scribes who wrote down his words while he hid with the plates behind a curtain or blanket. Later, he would translate them without even using the plates. He said that he could use his magical glasses and still see the plates in his mind's eye. There are several other examples of special magical items in the Book of Mormon, but let's leave all of that behind and fast forward hundreds of years to Chad Daybell's farm in Idaho to take a look at his own special magic necklace. Chad and many of his followers and associates believed that he possessed a necklace which was sent to him from heaven above and assisted him in determining the lightness and darkness of a person's soul. Remember, guys, for many people, having an extremely dark soul has led them down the path of becoming a zombie in Chad's eyes and eventually losing their life. So it's really important how this necklace decides to judge you. Here's the story of how Chad came across the necklace. Chad says that while he was cleaning up after some kind of a service in an LDS chapel, he found this necklace left behind on the floor. Likely it was just a necklace abandoned by a little old lady or a young girl who probably went looking for it the next day and couldn't even find it. The necklace was possibly just purchased from a local Walmart, but Chad reports he believed it was a sign and a gift from God. He claims that the spirit told him it had special powers just for him. Chad would go on to use this specific necklace to gauge people's lightness and darkness throughout the course of the rest of his journey before he was arrested, determining who could be included in the Chad Daybell Club of 144,000 survivors who would all band together after the impending apocalypse. Chad was doing what Joseph Smith did. He needed an object as a symbol of his power and his specialness. We have one personal account from a random neighbor of Chad's who claims Chad showed up at his home one night with his necklace and then proceeded to do a special kind of celestial reading. Let's listen in.
We're from the same town. He lives up the road a little bit. An acquaintance. I did not know him well, so he came over with a friend. They asked to speak with me away from my wife, which was a little odd. They took me to a place in my house, and he began to explain what he had been into and a pendulum, and he was asking these questions, and he told me what level of light I was and listed all these people that he thought that I was in another probation. Anyway, an uncomfortable situation. I sat through it, listened to him, and that was about it. He called it family history. I remember a few of the people that he said that I was, which made me very uncomfortable. They told me that I was not to speak to my wife about it, and they left. And of course, I went straight to my wife about it.
That's good.
But
I don't know why, but Chad's magical necklace would go on to convince so many others that their special family readings from Chad were sent directly from heaven. This included Lori Daybell, but also so many other people from Chad's community who literally believed he could read their minds and tell them all about their past lives. Where is Chad's necklace now? It's all speculation and allegations, but it's going around on the back streets of Reddit that Chad left his special necklace in a special place on his Idaho farm to be protected by his children. Recently, Chad's kids gave an interview in which they said they still believe in and support their father, seemingly placing the blame on Lori. Okay, please join me down the rabbit hole in my next video, in which we will look at Chad and Lori's families of origin, how they grew up, and the psychological forces possibly still at work in the lives of Lori and Chad Daybell.